we're not the winning team. And, just disappointed. Thought we could have had a better outing today. I really did. And, 11-point game. Going into halftime, we're down 3, down 4, going into the fourth, and you're literally. I told the team, just two more stops, one more score in the middle of that game, and that's a different ball game, and that's like 3 more plays, and I think we could have made 3 more plays. So I'm disappointed. Also, I think it's really important. Look, Alabama just got ranked. They're a good basketball team. They really are. They're veterans. They played with great poise. I thought they controlled their pace. So, me saying I'm disappointed, I don't want to take anything away from that basketball team because they deserve to be ranked. They should be, and they're a good basketball team.
Questions? For Grace and Abbey, just what do you feel like in the fourth quarter they're allowed to kind of pull away with that down the stretch?
Yeah, I think it really just kind of came down to us being able to guard one-on-one and get stops, and if we were able to get stops and just being able to execute offensively and get a good look.
Yeah, like Coach said, they're a great team, and when they have that many shooters out on the court, it's hard you can't really help off of them. So, yeah, we just needed guard one-on-one.
Grace, you had a very prolific offensive first half. Just what were you seeing early that was allowing you to get some of those easy buckets?
Yeah, they had some bigs guarding me, so I think just being able to attack them and drive on them was working well, and my teammates, did a good job of moving the ball around the perimeter, which helped me get good looks inside for post-ups.
For both Grace and Abbey, I think this is your 4th straight top 25 team. What have you kind of learned from the start, the way you guys have performed through these 4 years?
Yeah, I think we learned that we can play a good 3/4 of a game. We just need to, find a way to pick up our energy right after halftime so we can finish the whole game, because I think we've done a good job proving to ourselves that we can play with this competition. We just need to put a full 4 quarters together.
Yeah, and kind of building off Schreacke, just being in these games and being able to have close moments, whether we're up or, going into halftime with a 3-point, difference, just being able to recognize that we can play in these games, and if we can put together a full 4 quarters, we can definitely get some wins.
How do you put together 4 quarters? What's it going to take?
I think it really comes down to communication and just executing our scout. Our coaches do a great job, every single game of giving us a game plan, and I think just if we can execute that for a full 40 minutes, on both sides of the floor, just knowing what we're looking for offensively and defensively, that can really help us.
For Grace, Jordana was out a lot with foul trouble, so you were playing down low in the post, especially on defense. How would you kind of evaluate your performance and how you think things went?
Yeah, Schreck kind of hit on it earlier. They have, a lot of great shooters, so there wasn't much help when we wanted to front the post. So, just really working on that side of my game, being more physical down low, really worked on getting stronger this offseason to be able to help out in the post in those times, which I think there's always room for growth, especially on the defensive side for us.
Any more questions for the student athletes? All right, we'll let them go.
Good job.
All right, I want to open it up for questions for Coach. Coach, with this start, these first 4 games, that's probably the toughest slate of anybody in the SEC. How do you contextualize what you've seen in these first 4 games with kind of how difficult the opposition has been?
Yeah, I think it's obviously been a really, really tough stretch, and I think we have to try to find growth each week. Whether that is in the games or in practices, our preparation, just we're looking for ways to grow, and all of these are all really good teams, but they're all very different, and so our scouting report or our executions looked a little bit different each game, and so we're trying to also see some adaptability as we play different styles. Kind of learning our team and how much to give them in terms of their preparation, how to streamline that information and what they can handle. And so I think we're still evaluating. Obviously, we were lower on our turnovers today. We won the boards. There's a lot of things we did not do well today. We will address a lot of those things. But I think, each game we just try to see, was there something that we can say, hey, that was our improvement. And we've been really trying to come out of every game and give them something to really focus on for the next couple of days. That's been a big area for us. And, sometimes you may just see that growth in practice. We'd like to be able to carry it over to the game as well.
Coach, you talked about that advantage on rebounding, especially with Jordana playing less than 20 minutes. Just how do you think your team did so well, especially on the defensive end of the ball?
Yeah, I thought they really battled. I thought they went in and battled, and we didn't just assume someone else was going to get that board. I think that's an area of growth for us. I think just being a little bit more active, pursuing the basketball on the boards has been an area of that we've been wanting to focus on, and obviously I think we saw some of that today.
Any other questions for Coach?
Shannon Dowell still, I guess, doesn't look a total 100% healthy. What's it been kind of like to get her back into, I guess, 100% game shape over these last couple games?
Yeah, when you have a player that's had to sit out for multiple weeks, it's challenging to get them back in the middle of the season. It just is. So you're looking at about a month out. And then we said, oh yeah, by the way, here are the teams that you're going to be going up against. And so I think we're trying to get her great quality minutes while she's also helping the team, and hopefully each game she's a little bit better, a little bit more comfortable.
There was a call in there tonight for the technical for 6 players on the court. Just curious what happened there and how that.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not even sure. We subbed someone, and they're on the exchange. There must have been some miscommunication. Someone didn't get the right call of who was subbing off. So I'll definitely look at it and address it. That happened. Honestly, it happened a couple times where we were subbing in and just didn't get the communication of the subs. And we have some built-in techniques. I mean, we have a towel, you sub, you go give it to the person so that that doesn't happen, right? I mean, it's very elementary. You take it to the person you're subbing out. So obviously we got to look at that, because we don't want any of those little details messed up. I mean, those are things we can take care of.
Coach, we heard Grace and Abbey talk about it a little, but what does it mean that you can hang with some of these top teams, and how do you take that confidence into the next game against Arkansas?
Yeah, I think there's got to be this balance of competitiveness, and where we don't want to be beat down because of the schedule we play, but we also don't want to just say, hey, this can happen. That's where I was telling them. I mean, I don't know if anybody else thought that we could have won the game. I felt like we could have won the game had we just made a few more plays. It's a different ball game. It's a closer ball game. And I'm not talking about we had to, hit 4 more threes. I'm not saying that. Just a couple more plays, and that's what we try to talk about with our team. Man, you've got to believe you can win that game. You got to be on the court thinking we can win that game, and that's how important those plays are. So, there's this balance of, it's great. We know we can do it. Well, let's finish a job. Let's compete at an elite level. So, that's the mindset we've got to have. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard. These are good basketball teams, and I'm sure human nature is, but, we want to have a little bit more competitive fight that we can get the job done.
Does instilling that belief become more difficult as you move through this tough portion of the schedule?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And that's something we talked to our team about. We're going to go on stretches this year. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. And somehow, some way, they've got to be able to get back up. Now, I think they've done that. I think they've gotten back up for every game. But now you can't get to halftime and lose it. It's gotta be 40 minutes of energy. And I thought our energy was depleted at times. Sometimes I thought and this is not unusual. I thought if we were making shots and we were scoring, I thought our energy was a little higher. That's not abnormal. No coach wants that, but so we gotta find some other way to have success. If our shots aren't going in, man, you gotta toughen up on the defensive end. That's where our biggest area of growth can be.
Where does the team find that? I mean, you've been around for a while. Like, where does the team find that source, I guess?
We have some kids that are very competitive. I think they just have to they have to step up and be the voice. Our coaching staff is extremely competitive, but it's got to come from the players. So when your competitive players step up and put their foot down, the team will follow.
It seems, if I'm not mistaken, it seems like you're quite happy with it for stretches of games. How do you make that translate to 40 minutes?
Yeah, well, that's our job, right? As coaches, we gotta stretch that out to 40 minutes, and I know that was one thing I'd written on the board was high energy for 40 minutes, and I get it. It's not easy to do, but it's what they're here for, and that's the area of growth and focus that we can have now. You got to do it a little bit better in practice, and just hopefully maybe it's incremental, but maybe we just got to chip away at it. You cannot be satisfied. We have to find ways to get better.
We'll take one or two more if everybody has them.
Coach, we talk about the Wee Backpack game and the emphasis Pat Summitt's had on the conference and the continuing impact. Can you just talk a little bit about what this game means to you and some of the emotions you've had on a night like tonight?
Yeah, before the game, I talked to the team a little bit about who Pat was and what she stood for. And one thing about her, she loved women's basketball, and she supported women's basketball, and she grew women's basketball, big picture. And so I told them, you play like this, and you're gonna make her proud, right? And we talked about the competitiveness and the grit, the toughness, and those things. Everybody knows that about her. She was poised, she was humble but confident and fierce. Fierce was the word I really liked. Every year this game comes around, and what comes to my mind is how many of these players that played on the court don't know. They don't know her. They don't know the history. They can't sometimes understand the impact. And one thing I love about this game is we're talking about her. Right? We're talking about her. We bring her name up. I get to confidently share who she was and why this is a big deal. And every year, we're just another year removed from that history. And so for me, that is meaningful to be able to. I know we're bringing awareness to her foundation, and I understand that is what this is about. But for somebody that played for her, it's also wonderful to be able to talk about her, and turn on the TV and see clips of her, and because she meant so much to sports and women's basketball.
Any others? All right, thank you guys.
Thank y'all for coming.